My name's Jim Fleming. I'm a spinal surgeon, past president of the Medical Alumni Board, and I'm giving you a warm welcome. I would say my biggest claim to fame is that I'm a member of the class of 1989, which started Doc Opera. So we're here and we've made an impact. I want to introduce, it's my pleasure, Dr. President Eric Kaler, the 11th president of Case Western Reserve University. Can you please come on stage? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sorry about that. If you go that way, it's a long trip to get up here, but thank you, Jim, and thank you for serving as co-chair for tonight's event and for your service to the Board of Trustees. Jim's one of our newest members of the board, and he's doing an absolutely great job coming in, understanding, and helping us govern this place. So please, a round of applause for Jim. So I welcome everybody and welcome those who are joining us via live stream. We're so pleased to have you here, and we appreciate you coming back to celebrate one another and the School of Medicine. But first things first, Nancy Johnson, would you please stand up? Nancy Johnson is an esteemed alumna and a member of the emeritus faculty, and this year she celebrates her 70th reunion with the School of Medicine, where she earned an MD in 1954. But that's not all. Nancy earned her bachelor's degree at the Flora Stone Mather College in 1949, where she majored in medicine. I'm going to try to embarrass you a little bit, Nancy, so just get ready. So she's also celebrating the Diamond Jubilee of her undergraduate degree. But that's not all. In 1998, Nancy earned a master's in bioethics from the School of Graduate Studies. So, an MD, a bachelor's degree in 49, an MD in 54, a master's in 98. So I think you're due for another degree. I don't know whether you want an MBA or, I don't know, dentistry. I don't know, but you're due again. So Nancy, thank you so much for being here. Congratulations. This is a really wonderful time to celebrate each other. As you know, the School of Medicine is among the country's leading medical schools and institutions of research. We're preparing students to heal patients and to provide compassionate care. We're researching new ways to combat disease and to improve health outcomes for people throughout the world. And importantly, we are addressing disparities in healthcare because your life circumstances and the zip code in which you were born should not determine the outcome of your life or your access to treatment. So in short, we are making a difference. I want to thank the Dean of the School of Medicine, Stan Gerson, for his remarkable leadership. He has done a tremendous job as your dean, and I wish you would offer him all a round of applause. So we've got some celebrating to do. We'll be honoring George Pico with the Lifetime Achievement Award. I had the honor of joining George and his sons a few months ago when Dean Gerson and I surprised him at dinner with the news he would be receiving this award. So George, congratulations, and we look forward to hearing from you a bit later tonight. George, where are you? Stand up and accept some congratulations from the group. There we go. George, congratulations. I also want to congratulate those of you who are among the class of 1974. Okay, I graduated from high school in 1974. I just got to tell you that. And are celebrating your 50th reunion. Congratulations to the School of Medicine class of 1974. And the reason that I called out Nancy Johnson earlier, because she's the pace setter. You're here for your 50th. I expect you to be here for your 60th and your 70th reunion. There's expectations involved here. I also want to say a sincere and gratitude-filled thank you to those of you who have supported the School of Medicine and the university through philanthropy. Your generosity creates opportunities for students and faculty and advances our life-changing research and innovation. We appreciate you and your support. So again, thank you to everyone for coming tonight. It's wonderful to celebrate a happy event and to really reflect on the excellence at in the School of Medicine and amongst its alumni. So at this time, I want to introduce the Physician Musicians. They are a group of physician graduates from the School of Medicine and medical students who have a shared love for music and who perform at various healthcare facilities. I understand they will perform Robert Schumann's Traumerei, which we are told might be Nancy Johnson's favorite song. We'll see. Physician musicians, take it away, please.
Good evening. It's my welcome to all of you as we continue the program to talk further about the School of Medicine and your wonderful years here. I'd also like to add my recognition of Nancy Johnson, because I'm on stage here today because of Nancy Johnson. Because hard to believe, when I was finishing my fellowship and looking for a position, my wife had just had her sister move to Cleveland to teach at HB, and Nancy met Debbie over lunch and hired her even before I looked for a position in Cleveland. So thank you, Nancy. Nancy had a absolutely top-notch obstetric practice in Cleveland, and as I said, helped Debbie get started. And after a couple of years, when Debbie was pregnant, she decided she would deliver what turned out to be our middle child, and then go into solo OB practice back when that was still possible. And she delivered her first patient after our son James was born, 4 days after she delivered. And that son, James, went on to become a member of the class here of medical school of 2012, met and married his classmate Danielle Burstein. And Debbie can't be here this evening because, in fact, she's playing grandma up in Burlington, Vermont, with our now 16-day-old granddaughter, which I hope we have a picture of, named Anna Autumn Gerson. So Nancy, you've done it again. You must still be practicing OB, so thank you. So let me move on now and again thank all of those of us who are on live stream and all of you here. It's a full house here in town, which I'm delighted with. I also want to thank the medical students who performed. We'll have another performance in just a few minutes. Since I became dean in 2020, I've been enthusiastic about making sure that we're very active to include not only our MD graduates, but our PhD graduates and welcoming them back. We have a number of remarkably accomplished individuals in both camps, if you will. And we've heard from two of them with Distinguished Lecture Awards, Rick Wolchek yesterday, a member of our PhD class, who's now the director of the National Institutes of Environmental Health Sciences. And today we heard from Gary Barron, who gave a remarkable talk about the work that he does at NASA, leading the human space flight program. So I'm absolutely delighted with the accomplishments of our faculty, and I hope while you're back in town, you get a little bit of exposure to all of us here and what we do. And I'm delighted that we have a room filled with alumni, students, researchers, and some of our faculty as well. And for those of you for whom this is the first time you've been in the health education campus, it is so dramatically different from where you were educated years and decades ago that I hope you appreciate the effort that the institutions took here to build one of the most advanced education programs and environments for all of us to take part in. Now, I'm not exactly sure where everybody came from, but I am curious about how many drove up from wherever they live to join us today. If you could raise your hand if you drove here. Got it? And how many of you flew in to be with us? So we have a lot of people from around the country, so thank you very much for coming from near and far, and I'm sure some of you haven't been back here for decades. We are, in fact, appreciative of both you as alums for what you've done in your own practices and for the school. You help the school in a whole variety of ways, not only with philanthropic support and other, but through our Med Connect program that helps us connect our students as they're looking to their careers. And it's amazing how many of you have funneled a smart young person into our graduate or MD programs here, and so we certainly appreciate it. When I go around the country, I realize how important this phase of your life has been, how appreciative our graduates are of their medical education. It really is remarkable to me I'm not sure you all had a good time, but you had an incredible educational experience and a great time here, and found your way and are grateful for it. So I am delighted that you're all here with us, and I hope you appreciate that you've helped us further the mission and efforts of our school as well. I'll remind you of our mission statement, which is to improve global health by linking research to populations in a superb educational environment. And the education programs that we have here in the city of Cleveland with our hospital partners is really overwhelmingly remarkable. And the innovation of our education program, now called WR2, or Western Reserve 2, is remarkable as well. Now, many of you wouldn't be here if we didn't have a medical alumni board. And I want to especially call out first the nominations committee, Pat Brown and Eric Rothfuse, and they've recruited new members to the nominations committee. And I wonder if I could have the nominations committee rise to thank you for the efforts that you've done for the awards that we'll be going through in a little bit. And also to the entire board of alumni who are here. So maybe the board in its totality could rise as well. We have a number of important conversations between myself and the board of alumni together, and they actually give us good advice. And we have students on the board as well that offer perspectives, and I think that's incredibly helpful for us as well. So, as President Kaler mentioned, we're here to help celebrate every class, but certainly the class celebrating its 50th year anniversary. And I'm just going to ask that group to stand and be recognized so we can applaud their accomplishments. We're delighted, and as Eric said, we expect you back for the next 20 years or more. So we heard from our physician musicians, and another group that we're incredibly proud of because they're so involved in Doc Opera, and you'll notice on your table is a comment about how you can help us out with Doc Opera. But the Docapella group is an amazingly talented group, and I think we're going to have them come up and perform. Here they come, white coats and all. So here they are, the Case Western Reserve School of Medicine, Docapella.
I just wanted to briefly introduce our group. My name is Mike. I'm a third-year medical student and the director of the group this year. We've got a lovely bunch of students here to perform for you tonight. We'll also be performing at Doc Opera on December 14th, so please come out for that if you have not already bought a ticket. And without further ado, this is DKA Baby.
Dum dum da da dum dum da 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 dum dum da da dum dum da da.
Well, looky here, ah, what do we see? We see another patient with an emergency. But little do they know that someday I'll be a doctor, 'cause we're learning so much that I cruise through every block, yeah.
I need some help.
Hey,
That's what they say.
that's what they say.
This tells me student doctor there in DKA.
In DKA, but when I ride, I never play, 'cause when a diabetic needs my help, this is what I'll say. DK, Now let me think, what should I do? Salt no more saline, then let's do electrolytes too. Now even if we follow protocol to the letter, we gotta follow you make sure you get better.
Some help.
Hey,
That's what they say.
that's what they say.
Tells me student doctor there in DKA.
In DKA, but when I ride, I never play. Cause when a diabetic needs my help, this is what I'll say. DK, DKA, DKA, baby. Your PGL is through the roof. You better get insulin, darling. Cause everything you heard is true. Your poor little lungs will stop breathing fast. And you'll see acidosis on your blood gas. Cause you got that DK, DKA, baby. Check it out. You got diabetes, yeah, you've been making ketones lately. Oh, you got diabetes, baby. Yeah, you've been making ketones lately. Don't you know that's DKA? That's DKA. That's DKA. That's DK. DKA, baby. Your BGL is through the roof. You better get insulin, darling. Cause everything you've heard is true. Your poor little lungs will stop breathing fast. And we'll see acidosis on your blood gas. Cause you got that DKA, baby.
Thank you, Dr. Capella, a wonderful group, and we hope to see many of you in town at Doc Opera. Although, frankly, I think that tune may have to add something about GLP-1 inhibitors now that they're coming along. So, medicine is always changing. So I also want to move us to the part of the program where we celebrate some of our absolutely amazing alumni who were able to honor here tonight. The awards committee, which is led by Tom Abelson, class of '76. Tom's out of town. His spouse, Abby, is here. And we're delighted with the effort that Tom makes in coordinating the admissions committee. And so I'm going to ask Dr. Dee Banks, class of '74, who's part of the awards committee, to come and join me on stage, as well as the president of the Medical Alumni Association, Dr. Beth Sursig, class of '84. Reunion co-chairs will bring back up Jim Fleming, class of '89, and Tessiana Misko, whom you've met earlier this evening. And we'll take you through some amazing awards of our alumni. So who starts? Dee, do you start? I think you're up first. Yep, I think you're up.
Good evening. I'm Dee Banks, and I'll begin the awards presentation with the very special Clifford J. Vogt, MD, class of 1934 Alumni Service Award. Since 1984, this award has been presented to an alumnus who best emulates the spirit of Dr. Vogt in unselfish devotion and extraordinary volunteer service to the School of Medicine. This year's recipient is Christopher Brandt, Western Reserve class of 1980 and School of Medicine class of 1984. Dr. Brandt is a general surgeon in the Department of Surgery of the Metro Health System and professor of surgery at Case Western Reserve. While chairperson of the department, he was honored to be the inaugural Richard B. Fradian Professorship in Surgery. He has been recognized with awards for gender equity, scholarship in teaching, best contribution for teaching, and the Kaiser Permanente Award for excellence in teaching from the School of Medicine, as well as faculty teaching awards for resident education at Case Western Reserve and the Philip Wolfson Outstanding Teacher Award from the Association of Surgical Education. He joined the faculty at Metro Health in 1989 and has served there continuously, including as core surgery clerkship director for 22 years and as chair of the department from 2010 to 2023. At the School of Medicine, he has served on the faculty council and on many committees, including the Committee on Medical Education, the Committee on Students, and numerous curriculum and search committees. He has been a member of boards and committees for national organizations, including the National Board of Medical Examiners, the American Board of Surgery, and the American Burn Association, among others. He is past president of the Association for Surgical Education, the Cleveland Surgical Society, and the Case Western Reserve School of Medicine Alumni Board, and is presently a governor of the American College of Surgeons. Dr. Brandt, in honor of your outstanding service and devotion to our students, please accept this award. Would you like to say a few words?
I will say a very few words. I was told we had up to 2 minutes. I'm going to give you 25 seconds. I would like to thank the Alumni Board for this really unexpected award, for which I'm sure there are many deserving candidates. And I need to thank my wife, Beth. I assume she excused herself from this deliberation, but I want to thank her for doing all the other things that needed to be done that allowed me the opportunity and time to participate in the activities. Thank you very much. Despite being a pretty busy clinician, I always enjoyed coming to the medical school and interacting and working with my colleagues at the school and across the various institutions. And there are many, but these are folks like Bob Haney and Ken Smith who are with us tonight, who are extraordinarily dedicated to the students. And it's been a tremendous pleasure to work with them over the years. I think doing that results in a really deeper and more powerful connection to the mission of the medical school, more than you can get just by working at one of the affiliated institutions. I have had the pleasure of spending my entire career at the Metro Health System, which you may know has had a long affiliation with the medical school, well over 100 years. And the emphasis that Metro has had over all of that time related to education of students and trainees across a variety of disciplines is really ongoing and an important part of their mission. And when I had the opportunity of being chair of the department at Metro, I hope I was able to do my small part in sort of maintaining and enhancing that tradition and that part of the mission of the medical school. So once again, thank you very much for this honor. Thank you very much.
Next up is our Special Recognition Award, presented to an individual who has made extraordinary contributions to the field of medicine. This year's recipient is Carl Robeson, School of Medicine, class of 1966. Dr. Robeson, I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. Okay. Dr. Robeson was raised in the Chicago area by parents who were social activists. He attended the College of Worcester prior to medical school, and this was followed by an internship at Parkland Memorial in Dallas, followed by an appointment at the U.S. Department of Indian Health in 1967. He completed his residency in internal medicine at Metro Health. He has spent the last 50-plus years practicing family medicine in Cleveland's inner city. He's served in primarily underserved areas, including Huff Norwood Family Health Care Center, and in private practice in the Superior, St. Clair, East 55th areas of Cleveland. He retired in 2020 after an incredible career of serving the underserved. Dr. Robeson, in honor of your outstanding contributions to the field of medicine, please accept this award, and would you please give us a few words?
Thank you. This was an entirely unexpected award. And it's true that I've been in that neighborhood, the Superior St. Clair neighborhood, for years. I've been living there for over 35 years. I'd like to, by the way, thank the committee very much for giving me this unexpected award. There are two personal, you might say, guideposts that I'd like to mention briefly that I had always, since even before medical school, I had always wanted to be in a position that I could provide service for the underserved community. And also, I believe in long-term continuity of care with patients, that this provides the most meaningful kind of relationship. Even though I retired now, I still get calls from some patients who are seeing another physician. They find their way to get hold of me, and they ask how I'm doing. Oh, that's great, doc. And then they tell me about their new doc, and they'll list the medications they're taking. Now, tell me, doc, do you think it's okay if I take these meds? So, I've been residing in the St. Clair Superior neighborhood for over 35 years now. And I've really had the satisfaction of fulfilling both of these criteria that I mentioned, and thank the committee again for this award. It's very nice. This one.
Next is this year's Early Career Leadership Award, which is presented to alumni who have graduated in the last 15 years and have made extraordinary contributions in areas including community service, clinical or research experience, expertise, mentoring, social or civic engagement, and other notable accomplishments. The 2024 recipient is Paige Kramer-Lakatina, Graduate Studies Class of 2012. Dr. Kramer-Lakatina is currently the member of Merck & Co. Inc.'s Business Development and Licensing team and serves as Director of Search and Evaluation for Neuroscience and Ophthalmology, where she recently led the scientific diligence on iBio acquisition. She earned her PhD in neuroscience, and prior to joining Merck, she co-founded the company Receptor Inc., which aimed to repurpose an oncology medication for Alzheimer's disease indication. She was named one of Forbes 30 Under 30 for healthcare in 2012 and 2013 for this work. After joining Merck, she spent 4 years as a bench scientist before being accepted into Merck's talent program, the Global Management and Acceleration Program, where she joined Merck's commercialization organization supporting a phase 3 Alzheimer's disease asset for the first year. In the second year of the program, she lived in Zurich and was part of the financial planning and analysis organization supporting business development in the Balkans, Greece, and North Africa. Prior to her current role, she was the Global Director of Scientific Affairs for Neuroscience and Anesthesia within the Global Medical and Scientific Affairs Organization. Dr. Kramer Lakatina, in honor of your extraordinary contributions to the field of medicine, please accept this award. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you. So first and foremost, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the committee for this recognition. It is truly humbling to be acknowledged in such a meaningful way at this stage of my career. I want to thank the remarkable professors and mentors who have guided and inspired me while at CWRU and still to this day, specifically my PhD advisor, Gary Landreth. The neuroscience department's support and dedication have been instrumental in shaping my professional growth. I also want to acknowledge the outstanding leaders and colleagues who have been an integral part of my career development at Merck. I truly have been fortunate to be surrounded by individuals both here in Cleveland and with Merck in the Delaware Valley who have consistently pushed and challenged me, from being a bench scientist involved in Alzheimer's research to leading business development efforts for neuroscience and ophthalmology at Merck. My field of endeavor, though, began from the strong support I received at Case Western Reserve University. Additionally, I would like to extend a heartfelt appreciation to my family and friends who have brought joy, love, laughter, and support into my life. Your guidance and friendship has provided me with the strength and levity during challenging times and has been a constant source of motivation. I especially want to send a special thank you to my husband, Anthony, who's currently watching over our 3 young children at home in Philadelphia. I'm deeply grateful for his love and encouragement, which has allowed me to pursue my professional aspirations with unwavering dedication. I am profoundly thankful for this prestigious award and the immense support that I have received throughout my career from CWRU. I'm committed to continuing to contribute to the scientific field and to make a positive impact. Thank you so much.
Good evening. The next award is the Robert L. Haney, MD, PhD, 7278 Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Award, which is presented to an individual whose work on behalf of diverse populations in the general and/or medical communities has significantly addressed systemic or unconscious bias, improved the lot of people whose health has suffered because of systemic or unconscious bias, or enhanced the professional opportunities of members of ethnic, racial groups, or cultural groups that are underrepresented in healthcare fields. The 2024 recipient is Wanda Cruz Knight, School of Medicine, class of 1997. Dr. Cruz Knight is a distinguished physician leader and educator whose career has been dedicated to promoting health equity and serving underserved communities. A proud graduate of Lincoln West High School here in Cleveland, Dr. Cruz Knight continued her academic journey at Oberlin College before earning her medical degree here at Case. She completed her family medicine residency at Illinois Masonic and Rush Medical Centers, and then dedicated her skills to the Pilsen community in the South Loop of Chicago, where she worked to improve access for underserved patients. She then moved to the role of primary care chief for the Department of Human Health Services in Illinois, where she was an advocate for integrating primary care in the mental health facilities. From there, her passion for education and mentorship led her back to Cleveland, where she joined the faculty at university hospitals and the School of Medicine and served as the Director of Medical Education. Next, Dr. Knight relocated to Florida to become the Medical Director of Graduate Medical Education and Program Director for Bay Care Health System at Morton Plant Hospital. She currently serves as Chair of the Department of Family Medicine at Endeavor Health, an academic affiliate of the University of Chicago Pritzker School of Medicine, where she also holds a faculty appointment. As an active mentor, Dr. Cruz Knight serves on various committees, including the Society of Teachers of Family Medicine Underrepresented in Medicine Group. And I am so proud of both Paige and Wanda, who I knew back when I was working at Case in College Health, so it's a great night. Dr. Cruz, do you want to come up? In honor of your dedication to addressing health disparities and improving the health and wellness of our communities, please accept this award. And would you like to say a few words?
Yes, I will. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Whew, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and say a few words since I have this opportunity to do so. I want to first thank my husband because I guess he nominated me for this award. So thank you for recognizing the work I've done. But I think I just want to thank everyone on the nominating committee for giving me the award, so thank you. And then I also want to thank my family because I was told I can invite my family, so I invited them all. So there's like 10 members of my family here, so thank you. And then I'm going to share with you my passion for working in the field and why I think I'm always a promoter of DE&I. And it's because I've been a lot of the first, right? Many of us should stop being the first, but it's 2024, and sometimes we're still the first. So I will say when I first started at Case Western Reserve, I was the first Puerto Rican in my class, and there were no other Puerto Ricans near me, and no other Hispanics. When I graduated and went into residency, I learned a lot about working with my community and community of people that look like me, like my children who are African Americans, and the disparities that existed in our communities. And I realized that many of our community members really appreciated having physicians that look like them taking care of them. So how would I promote that as a physician? It wasn't by working in the D&I space, it was by understanding that everyone needs that opportunity to be able to thrive. So my career has taken me many different places. I was fortunate enough to come back here and work under Dr. Quijano and learn to work smart, not hard. I learned to really say, this is what my passion is and how do I fulfill this? And in doing that, I became program director, and I realized that as program director, you're in a unique situation. And that situation is to recognize talent, to look beyond the MCAT scores, to look beyond some of the grades, and to really be able to recognize talent and bring in not just underrepresented, but many medical students that came in as residents that are now thriving and really working in spaces that really help patients that are in need. And so I think that was been, to me, a great plus in my career. And then I would say that I learned that we need to all create a space, and if you think about ACGME, and it talks about creating the right learning environment. So I was asked, do you want to invite any of the residents that worked with you? And I invited someone that's really special and near to me today, and I'm not going to put them on the spot, but I invited them because to me they are a great example of why we need to create the right environment for our residents and medical students to thrive. And it's a resident that I had that in our program did not thrive because she was not given the skills and the support, but now is a resident. She is now a physician She is not just an internal medicine physician, but she is now a geriatrician, and she has thrived. Do you want to stand up? Because I see your hand up there. I am so proud of you. I am so proud of your persistence. And to me, that is why I am here, and that's why I do the work that I do. And we don't have to be in the DEI space to do that work. We just have to know that we have to create the right environment and know that many people that look like me, that look like my kids, will thrive if given the right opportunities, because we all take the MCATs, we all take step 1, step 2, step 3, and in our boards, we all have to pass them to be physicians. I'm really proud of everyone here. I'm really proud of you, Dr. Olabisi. I am so happy. I'm giving you so many hugs from here, but without the right environment, she would not be the doc that one day will take care of my mother. And so I am really happy for that, and that is why I do what I do. And I'm so proud of getting this award. Thank you all.
How am I going to follow that, Dr. Cruz Knight? That was inspiring. And I appreciate those words. Next are the 2024 Distinguished Alumni Awards. These awards are one of the School of Medicine's highest alumni honors and are presented in 2 categories: the Distinguished MD category and the Distinguished MD PhD or med-related PhD category. The recipient of the 2024 Distinguished Alumni Award in the MD category is James Brodsky, School of Medicine, class of 1979. A Texas native, Dr. Brodsky returned to Texas after a peripatetic path of residencies and fellowships with his wife, Dr. Cynthia Schneider. They went from Cleveland to New York to Houston to Los Angeles, finally settling in Dallas. He practiced at the Baylor University Medical Center. He led the foot and ankle section of Orthopedic Associates of Dallas Baylor University Medical Center. He served 9 years on the board of directors of the American Orthopedic Foot and Ankle Society, including as president. He volunteered weekly for over 20 years at the Dallas Veterans Administration in patient care, teaching orthopedic residents, and as a chief of the section of foot and ankle surgery. In addition to his service and activities in clinical practice, Dr. Brodsky has been a lifelong professor and teacher of medical students, orthopedic residents, and post-orthopedic residency fellows. He continues an active program of clinical research, including effects on systemic disease of the lower extremities. He's received numerous awards and honors, including being named the American Orthopedic Foot and Ankle Society's 2021 Pillar of the Society, recognizing his lifetime contributions as a, quote, surgeon, teacher, and leader, end quote. Most importantly to Dr. Brodsky, he is proud of his 50-year marriage, his 3 children, and his 2 exceptionally cute grandchildren, Ruth and Gideon. It's my pleasure to welcome a fellow orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Brodsky. In honor of your distinguished career, please accept this award. And can you give us a few remarks?
To the committee of the Alumni Association, thank you so much for this wonderful award, like nothing I've received in my career. I was really surprised about this. Every year this award has been given to a doctor, but this year you decided to give it to an orthopedic surgeon. I'm grateful to our medical school and its faculty for not only what but how we learned. We have had a famously innovative curriculum. We had opportunities to independently learn in the afternoons. We had to put NG tubes down one another. But above all was the encouragement to exercise our curiosity, which is the fundamental characteristic that drives us to do research and to try to advance our fields of medicine. One thing the school got wrong, they said that as we advanced in our career, we would increase in stature, but I've shrunk at least 1.5 inches. As with our parents, we can never adequately thank our teachers. But we have the obligation to pass on the gifts they gave us to those who follow us. And I have sincerely tried to do my best over the last 40 years. I'm grateful to my colleagues and my classmates who have taught and inspired me. I'm particularly grateful to my lab partner, Abby Goulder-Abelson, who's sitting right there. We chose each other to be lab partners for 2 full weeks, having known each other for 3 days. And we've been friends for almost half a century, and it's not over. I'm grateful to my patients who have inspired me and taught me the most. And I'm grateful to our honored profession, which has given my life and yours immeasurable purpose and meaning. And in this modern day, it's that value and the issue of character that stands out among us being doctors and medical scientists. Most of all, I am grateful to the memory of my mother who taught us to really listen and to be kind, and to my father who taught us to do the right thing and work like crazy. I'm grateful to my siblings, all of whom are here, Ellen Gaber, Don Brodsky, and Joanne Brodsky. I'm grateful to my children, 2 of whom are here, Leonore Brodsky and Max Brodsky, and 2 who are not, Gregor Brodsky and Claudia Brodsky. And I'm particularly delighted that Ruth and Gideon Brodsky got mentioned. And if you have time afterwards, I have 1,000 pictures here I'd like to show you. Above all else, my greatest teacher and single greatest inspiration has come from one physician who's a real doctor. She's an internist, an infectious disease specialist. I'm just a sawbones. She's the smartest, the wisest, the most insightful and brilliant diagnostician I've ever known. My loving wife of 50 years, Cynthia Schneider, MD. Thank you again.
The recipient of the 2024 Distinguished Alumni Award in the PhD and MD PhD category goes to Michael Lobritz, Graduate Studies Class of 2007 and School of Medicine Class of 2009. Dr. Lobritz is Global Health of the Infectious Disease Therapeutic Area at Roche Pharma Research and Early Development in Basel, Switzerland. His group manages a translational strategy in infectious diseases across discovery and early clinical development, including bacterial and antiviral research, from target assessment through clinical candidate nomination, and advancing molecules through first in human, proof of mechanism, and proof of concept clinical trials. He serves on various committees and boards focused on the challenges of antimicrobial resistance and infectious diseases. Prior to joining Roche in 2017, he was an attending physician in medicine and infectious diseases at Massachusetts General Hospital and instructor in medicine at Harvard Medical School. He previously completed postdoc research at MIT, the Broad Institute, and Wyss Institute for Biologically Inspired Engineering, infectious diseases, clinical subspecialty training at Mass Gen and Brigham and Women's, and the clinical medicine residency at Stanford University. Unfortunately, Dr. Lobritz was not available to join us this evening, but he recorded this message to share.
Hi in the case, Western Reserve University School of Medicine. My name is Michael Lobritz, and I was in the medical scientist training program attending from 2001 to 2009. Thank you to the School of Medicine for recognizing me with the Distinguished Alumni Award this year. My 8 years at Case were foundational to my personal development as a scientist and physician. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank just a few individuals and groups. First, I would like to thank the late John Nilsson. I would also like to express my appreciation for John's immediate successor as MSTP Director, Cliff Erding. Cliff led the MSTP for the duration of my time at Case, and he created an environment of curiosity, kindness, and fun. Thank you also to the Division of Infectious Diseases, including the late Dr. Robert Zalata, Henry Boom, Michael Letterman, and of course, my PhD research advisor, Eric Artz. While Eric is no longer at Case, I will never forget my years at the bench on the 10th floor of the BRB. I'd also like to thank Dr. Robert Bonomo from the Lewis Stokes VA Medical Center, who continues to be a collaborating partner today. Thank you also to John Karn and the Department of Molecular Biology and Microbiology, where I learned the fundamentals of scientific discovery. Lastly, I'd like to make a statement to the student community at Case. At Roche, where I work today, we have a motto that states that we are doing now what patients need next. This means that we invest today in the science that will lead to the breakthroughs of tomorrow. I'm excited to see the breakthroughs that you will deliver and how this will improve the lives of patients. I hope you enjoy your time at Case as I did 15 years ago. Thank you again.
Each year, the Medical Alumni Board selects an honorary alumnus as part of our annual awards program. This award is bestowed on someone who did not graduate from the School of Medicine, but who has had a distinguished career. I am pleased to honor Belinda Yen Lieberman as our 2024 honorary alumnus. Dr. Yen Lieberman has had a remarkable journey. She was born in China, grew up in Taiwan, and finished high school in Malaysia. She arrived in the United States for her undergraduate education at Southern Illinois University, not being able to speak English. No problem. Belinda was a quick learner. After obtaining her BS in microbiology, she attended the University of Arkansas and earned a PhD in immunology. She then came to Case Western Reserve University for a postdoctoral fellowship to study C-reactive protein. This was followed by a postdoc fellowship in immunology at the Cleveland Clinic Foundation, the beginning of an almost 50 years of service to the Cleveland Clinic. In 1986, during the AIDS epidemic, the clinic asked Dr. Yen Lieberman to leave the research division and join the laboratory medicine division to build a clinical virology laboratory. From this beginning, Dr. Yen Lieberman became an internationally recognized leader in clinical virology. At her recent retirement from the clinic, Dr. Brian Rubin, chair of pathology and laboratory medicine, wrote the following: "You were a pioneer in HIV testing. Your basic science knowledge and skill translated to the bedside daily with all viral pathogens. From AIDS to COVID-19, you have been our behind-the-scenes hero, always putting patients first and providing clinicians with timely and accurate information. You have been a selfless collaborator, not only with Cleveland Clinic clinicians, but also with physicians and scientists from University Hospitals of Cleveland, from across the country, and from around the world. Your expertise also extended to the NIH, where you served as HIV RNA Working Group Leader at the NIH AIDS Clinical Trials Group. I will end with this comment from Dr. Rubin. Thank you for being the one-of-a-kind, fantastic person you are. And now a point of personal privilege. Belinda has always been one of us. Since she got married to Jim, who's in my class, it's been the triumvirate, Belinda, D. Banks, and Jim Lieberman. And I remember during those very dark days, I'm an infectious disease doctor too. Who knew it was all about ID? Well, we always knew that anyway. Thank you, my fellow ID colleagues. During those dark days of the pandemic, I was always calling Belinda about the confusion around everything, but the confusion around testing. So I want to thank her for that. But lastly, a couple of years ago, Jim Lieberman and Howard Neerman in my class and myself were clearly having delusions of grandeur, flight of ideas. We decided we were going to enter a mini triathlon here in Cleveland, indoor. I was doing the biking, Jim swam, and Howard Neerman ran. And Belinda was there to cheer us on, and at the end, to hand out the ibuprofen or the Voltaren or the defibrillator, whichever one came. We were cool, not to worry. We did great, and we beat some of those young'uns. So thank you very much. And now, Dr. Yen Lieberman, in recognition of your dedication to the School of Medicine's mission and vision, please come forward, my dear friend, to accept this award. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Vivi. I'm overwhelmed. First, I want to really thank the School of Medicine and the Alumni Board for the great honor for someone like me working in the lab. And I'm really grateful, overwhelmed, and then really appreciate a lot of clinicians still really regard that what I was doing was very cool, yeah. So, so throughout my years working and collaborative work, and then especially I'm a virologist, I'm board certified. I study virus because you can't see it, you can't smell it unless you're electron microscopy. So people say, what do you do? I said, that's when you use your brain. That's why I don't want to study bacteria because they smell and all that. So when I showed up, there's no virology lab at the Cleveland Clinic. I said, so I, with all my ambition, so I guess Lynn calibrates we need one because we're going to have an HIV patient. And Belinda's the only one who can do it. I didn't know, how do you spell HIV? I mean, I may be a virologist. I said, well, what's it? So I quickly did my work and ordered a lot of reagents because I'm at the NIH study session. I know people. So when that happened, and then quickly we brought in machines. Dr. Kaiser built a P3 facility, our chief. And then he said, that's for you because we're going to have a lot of HIV patients. So that's how I feel I was in the right time, right place for someone went to University of Arkansas. Yeah, so I did, and then trying to figure out what it is. You can't see the HIV virus. So I actually went to CDC, spent a week, learn how to culture. Afterwards, I said, it's really easy because I know how to grow virus. So with that in mind, I came back and then start working. And my technician worked with, about 7 months later, we have a test. So suddenly, Cleveland Clinic was really happy. They're standing in line to look trying to look the plague caused by HIV. So I was sitting there, I said, this is really good. I'm have a beginning in my career here. So I like to do things I don't know, but I bring them in, do it. So I like to collaborate. And I also like to, I'm very active at the NIH. So that's shortly after that, I had the pleasure, because I did a 2-year postdoc at the Case Western Reserve. I met Mike and Brooks Jackson, some really top-notch infectious disease, and they would say, "Oh, we're so excited! Finally, Cleveland Metro, Case Western Reserve has a 2-year grant, 4-year grant, 12 million something for the AIDS clinical trial group, and they call it ACTG." And I thought, okay. Then they know I work in the lab, but they didn't know what I was doing. So then I heard them talk. What should we do the test? And I told them, I will help you. So they look at me. They came to see me. I said, we have a lab. You guys you have a lab, but you don't test HIV. So by then, everything happened. Case Western Reserve had a huge enrollment. People get tested, positive. They know how to treat them. And then I got involved in learning all the thing. My job is testing, getting result, testing, getting result. But I didn't want to make a big deal. So every Wednesday, a technician will, at the end of the 4th floor, page me. I go down, get a big black box, all in ice. That's our sample. Every Wednesday or a Thursday, we get sample, then we test, and we give them the result. And that was the beginning. And then they were really happy, because then they did the Case Western Reserve, treating patient, enroll the patient, and then even Metropolitan General Hospital. So I feel like, boy, I'm just a lab person doing the test. Now you feel like you improve patient care. And then I was, very excited, and they were happy. I was happy, and then eventually we offer, several thousand HIV tests a year. Now we are doing 20,000 a year, but most people at the clinic, most people are not positive. But we can not only test the HIV, actually we can give you, they call quantitative. When the doctor asks, well, what's the HIV positive? He said, well, how much? The doctor wants to know how much. I said, well, you can't count the virus that way. So we give them this quantitative assays, they call copies. So now when you do HIV or any virus, now they can give you copies. So you will know the drug is working, the copies were going up, the drug's not working. So then we become very busy. Our lab become very busy. We hire more people, and I continue to collaborate with Case Western Reserve. And that's why I think I was very lucky. I was the right time, right place, and then we were able to not only learn and improve, patient care. So so they need the lab, and I was able to help. And the ACTG growth did real well, very successful. I think we actually invited, Dr. Mike Letterman come give a talk, and then the collaboration between two very competitive big institutes really made us very happy. So we're friends. So I can tell people. I said I'm going to go to Case Lab and work a little bit and come back, and no one will get upset. So I think for a while we feel by working together. I always say it's like 1 + 1 is 10. So throughout the year, I become very fortunately and met a lot more people besides my husband, works at the Case Western Reserve. So I feel I'm being blessed, and hopefully my effort of collaboration continues throughout the institute, and then improve the patient care. That's what I feel my job at the end. And still today, I just retired. I work at Cleveland Clinic 50 years, and they said, God, what did you do? I said, I was very busy. Being working in the lab. So we're very happy, and I want to thank the opportunity to share with you my experience.
So I'm honored to move us to our final Alumni Award of the evening, and that is the 2024 Lifetime Achievement Award. And I am absolutely delighted to present this to George Pica Jr., who received his Master's of Science degree in 1974 in biomedical engineering, his doctorate in biomedical materials in 1976, and his his MD degree from the School of Medicine in 1980. Arguably, Dr. Pica is the most accomplished person in the room, as you will hear as we have a short chat. After his medical degree, he did residency in plastic surgery at university hospitals here, and then his fellowship, and was an assistant professor in plastic surgery at Metropolitan General Hospital, did research and worked with the residents there. He doubled up his time with engineering projects at NASA's Lewis Research Center, and was interested initially in ion thrust. Perhaps we'll get into that, the deep space propulsion. But that really allowed him to understand better issues related to medical devices. And as you can tell from that career, someone who never stops tinkering and inventing. He became a consultant in medical devices with a variety of companies, such as the American Hospital Society, and went on to an amazing career, which we're going to chat about, with over 130 patents, numerous peer-reviewed publications, and he is the founder and CEO of Applied Medical Technology right here in Cleveland, which is a global and leader manufacturer of enteral feeding devices and a variety of other surgical devices. He actually established the company in the garage of his parents' house. It's grown to over 400 associates employed, developing and working in 40 different countries. He's involved his sons in the business and activities. His devices assist and benefit patients that are both children, adults, and the elderly worldwide, and he never stops coming up with the next invention. He's also been incredibly committed to his local community and the global community. He was a co-founder of the Loya Foundation, along with Father Loya, and for the last 19 years has been involved with nonprofit charitable activities, providing food and clothing and shelter to those desperately in need around the world. And so far, they've completed 80 projects worldwide. He's also been active in the local Boy Scouts of America for over 50 years. So, Dr. Pica, in small recognition of your incredible and extraordinary career, we would like you to come up and receive this award as the 2024 awardee for the Lifetime Achievement Award of the School of Medicine. Thank you.
Well, I was overwhelmed, to say the least, when I got this award. So let that be known. I want to thank all of my professors. God knows there was a large number of them, and they too would be amazed that I'm here. I particularly want to thank my professional consultants who have helped me grow, not just clinically, but also the creation of applied medical technology with a mission to take care of those who are sick and suffering. They're also my friends who provide a lot of relief, as you can imagine. I've put in a lot of hours, and every once in a while you have to let off a little steam, and they also ask tough questions as to what I'm doing, where I'm going, and, you know, where are we at in the world. And my family, they've been very supportive. They've stood by me. I wasn't always there, but I tried to make up for it. And I think, you know, my one son's a physician and my other's an attorney. Yeah, he's a good one, though. They're hard to find. And my oldest son, George, who is now the attorney, has been with me for 10 years and helped to ease the burden of applied medical technology. So I want to certainly thank the president, the dean, and the nomination committee. I'm extremely grateful. Thank you.
Take this, and take that. I'll take this and this.
He's got it here.
You got it? Okay, so I thought we would pick, pardon the pun, pick George's brain a little bit for how we got to where he is, and maybe give us some advice on how we can get there too. So rather than having him give us a lecture, I thought I'd ask him a few questions, if that's okay with you. So, why in the world would you start a company in a garage? What were you thinking?
Well, my parents were immigrants from Russia and Czechoslovakia, and you didn't have much to work with. And so we were approached by Marlon Yonkers of U.S. Endoscopy through one of the engineers that was working with me. And I believe Dr. Ponsky was involved with this process, that they needed to have a tube for the endoscope that could go in and retrieve rapidly without having to traumatize the esophagus. So what happened is that I had a small facility I was renting, and I said, well, let's make a tube. We picked bioimers of polyurethane and tetrafluoroethylene as a tube. We got another glass tube manufactured. We mixed the polymer and started dipping and reinforced with a flexible wire. And it did a remarkable job. And so we slowly began manufacturing. The FDA would drop dead today if they saw what happened. But back then, we did just fine. And so that was one of our first products.
So how did you go from an endoscopy tube to a tungsten implant in the foot? How'd that happen?
Yeah, that's a long story. Bruce Banks came to me when I was doing my PhD from NASA Lewis, and he said, can I borrow this book? And I said, sure. So he came back, and it was a book on orthopedics. He said, you know what, I want to work with you because you trusted me. I'm like, this is good. So he came back and said, we've got this engine that we want to go deep space with, but we have an exhaust. And he says the exhaust is texturing products that are surfaces that we put in front of the exhaust. And we put a screen over it, we can create some morphologies. And he said, this microtexturing, we'd like to see if there's an application for it. And so I said, fine, and it led to a long product development history, but one of the first products was a breast implant with surface technology on it. And it did remarkably well until the FDA decided to requalify the implant, and Dow Corning ended up with $4 billion in suits, and they said, Dr. Peake, here's your patent back. So I then said, well, what other applications are there? Because it seems like cosmetic surgery is a little risky business. And it seemed like we should be going in the direction of patient serious need and care and health. And my daughter came in and said, Dad, I want to do research on the surface morphology. And I said, well, we haven't looked at the hard tissue in terms of our pillar structure. And so I said, well, let's do a controlled study where we look at spacing of the pillars that we can do that other surfaces can't. And we put it in some dogs, and I did all the surgery, took it out, I did all the push-out tests, and based upon the spacing and the morphology, there was a dramatic change in the mechanical properties, dramatic. I immediately called my patent attorney. It was the only logical thing to do, because when you don't have much money and you're dealing with big business, you want to try to protect as much as you can. So we worked on that. I did experiments in Australia, and came back, the results were great. So I said, okay, it's now time, let's look for some clinical applications. And a foot and ankle doctor came up and said, I think I've got an application for this for foot arthritis. And I said, great. So we showed them the morphology, and we printed some implants. We had them come in. We had a couple feet that we purchased and did some implantations. He said, this is great. So we started, and we now have 40 patients, and they're all doing extremely well, which I'm extremely pleased about. And it takes an operation that's an hour and a half and is reduced to like 15 minutes with the method of implantation and the device. And so the path that you take, at least I take, is holistic. And between engineering and medicine, it's a very fertile ground for thought and problem solving. And I tell our engineers, our opportunity is the problems that physicians see. And if we can apply our skills and our businesses to help solve those problems, we're going to continue to grow and benefit mankind. As I tell them, we don't have customers, we have patients. And that's one of the clear differences in our business. There's a doctor in charge. And we care greatly about everyone who receives our devices, and we do make the very best in the world. And today, I stand on the shoulders of those 500 people who are manufacturing product in Brexville, Ohio.
So all along the way, you've had enough time and passion to help others worldwide through the Loya Foundation. Can you give us a brief sense of just what that foundation is?
Sure. John Loya and I were in high school together in Independence, and we played basketball together and got to know each other. Well, John's path took him to become a priest, and I continued down this path of educating myself in a variety of areas. So John was in Central America for 5 years, and one night I asked him to go to dinner. And so we're having dinner, and I said, John, I want to help people who are in desperate need and need help for food, clothing, and shelter. I said, you know the sources, you've experienced it. I want you to go out and find the opportunities, and I'll provide the funding for that. And as he says, it's like 2 men in a truck. And so we're approaching 100 missions throughout the world. And I just want to comment on 2 of them that were very influential and thought. There's the killing armies in Africa, where a child will wake up and kill their parents. They then join this army that goes out and just murders. If that child were to express that he wants to leave that army, they'll kill him. Fortunately, there are some children who wake up and realize my life is in the wrong direction. And so we built and provided funding, which we had to precariously get into the societies because the warlords would go into bank accounts. And so we provided the funding to build safe houses. And what we thought was going to be a reasonable number just grew. And so we built 2 safe houses, as well as safe fencing around the houses. And that to me was so impactful from my perspective. Another one that was pretty significant was, I think it was Hurricane Hugo in New Orleans. Wiped out the monastery's ovens that they would bake bread to take to the poor. So John came to me, and because I told him one time, I said, I want to feed more people than Christ did in the Bible. He says, okay. So he comes to me and he says, here's this monastery that lost everything in the hurricane, and they make 25,000 loaves. They make 250,000 loaves a year, and with replacing the ovens, in 4 years, you can feed 1 million people. I said, let's do it. So we did that, and I'm very happy to say they're extremely grateful. But the little humorous thing is they came back and said, we need a truck now. So we funded the truck, but that was a pretty significant impact. But we're in India and Central America and around the globe, as well as in the United States, protecting trafficking. So that's part of the Loya Foundation.
Thank you, George. An amazing career, which doesn't look to me like it's stopping anytime soon. So keep at it, and thank you for your achievements so far. We expect many more.
I'm extremely grateful, and I want all of you to know you're in the greatest country of the world.
Thank you. All right, thank you. So we're now going to move on to ask our alumni board to come up with some final comments about our contribution thing. They're getting organized. Give them a chance here. Uh-huh.
Dean Gerson, we want to present to you and the School of Medicine the check which represents the fundraising in recent times. $4,762,378.42.
Thank you. Hold on. And we're going to toast. All right, good. And if I could, I want to congratulate the 4s and the 9s and the contributions that we've just received, and for a wonderful evening. And thank you all for coming, and congratulations.